Welcome back to the pod, folks. I know this episode's intro is quite different than our usual intro. That's because we're down Noah Darren as our third host. But today we'll be today we'll be introducing our new host who will be joining the podcast hopefully every episode. And I'll let him introduce himself.
So I'm Will. I study history at Northwestern University, so it's very exciting place to be. I'm just happy to be involved, man. I don't know if they've talked about this at all, but we used to run a podcast in high school, and I did like all the editing for that. So I'm happy that I don't have to do that anymore. That's not my job on this podcast.
It's now my problem, folks.
Yeah, Matthew is now key editor. I have done none.
At least since this isn't a school associated podcast, you don't have to like edit everything that isn't like family friendly out. Because that was an ordeal, I can tell you. I'm happy to be here.
Will's actually, studying something useful, unlike Caden.
I swear to God, Matthew.
Well, Caden's not studying anything in particular. I feel like it's not a fair comparison.
He doesn't even know what he's spending his money on.
Matthew,
is this the bit? Is this the common bit?
We have had this conversation before, Matthew. Just because I am taking all of my gen ed at once does not mean I'm not doing college. You have a music history class. That's the same
you have a
thing.
Music history class?
Yeah, I do actually, and it's a lit class.
That's wild.
Yeah, I want to shout out my professor, Dr. G. She's lit. She probably doesn't even know this podcast exists.
No, she 100% doesn't know.
It does not know.
But she's a great freaking professor.
Dude, I haven't told anyone here that this is going on.
Yeah,
neither have
I have not either.
I had someone, they were going through my Instagram following list. They're like, why do you follow so much stuff about garbage? I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, I just told my roommate, I was like, yeah, I'm just doing a call with my friends. Like,
well, no, Augusta can know. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. They don't get the last part of that name. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. So let's just get into the episode, I guess,
what's on the agenda for today, boys?
So the first thing on the agenda is new games coming out this year. And specifically, or not maybe just this year, but specifically I wanted to talk about the new Ghost of Tsushima game.
Ghost of Yotai. Yes.
The sequel.
Is it Yotai or Yote?
Might be Yote.
I just know that, a lot of people are excited for this game, and I'm excited for it. I was watching the trailer with Noah, and we were very...
I haven't
very
watched
excited.
it yet. I
You haven't seen the trailer yet?
No.
Dang.
I'm basically sold on it already. I mean, if it's a sequel to Tsushima, I will. I don't own a PS5, but maybe I missed Spider-Man 2 and now Ghost of Yote or Yota. I think Yote is probably more accurate, if I had to guess. But I'm super excited about that, and I think there's a lot of very interesting games coming out in the next few months. And there's one specifically that I think we'll wind up coming back to later, so I won't talk too much about
we can talk about the new Ghost of Yote game real quick, because I don't know about you guys, I've already seen like your average Twitter user controversy.
So okay, yeah. I want to talk about this real quick. Everybody, or not everybody, some people are upset that the new main character is going to be a woman,
which is so
and to
dumb.
those people, I just don't give a fuck. Like, who the fuck cares? Okay. This isn't even supposed to be like a historically accurate franchise like of video games. Like, and even if it was, I still wouldn't care. But like, I guess y'all can talk more about this. But I just wanted to mention something else that I'm very adamant about, is the fact that they're adding dueling into the game, and I'm very excited.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
They're adding more weapon customization this time around. Like, they have like the whole like spinny shinobi type thing. If y'all have ever played For Honor.
Oh yeah, maybe I should just watch the trailer. That'd probably be that'd probably be a good thing to do.
Just a bit helpful.
Yeah. I will say Yeah, I'm super excited for it. One of my classes this quarter, because I'm not on the semester system,
Loser.
is about the history of the samurai. So I'm actually very excited to kind of be a little bit more knowledgeable on the subject. Like my professor, who I'm not gonna like name her, but she was the historical advisor on the Netflix show Blue Eyed Samurai.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, she like knows, she knows this stuff, and I actually briefly talked to her about a very similar scandal around a different game, which I think we will rep to later. And she told me that she was willing to talk to me about that and her thoughts. So I'm really excited to learn about like the expert's opinion on that situation, which you can probably read between the lines and know what I'm talking about.
I may be
But
stupid, but I have no clue what we are talking about right now.
He's talking about the Assassin's Creed game coming out.
Got
this
it.
Assassin's
year.
Creed, yeah, that's
Okay,
what I'm
we'll
talking
talk
about.
about that later, though.
Yeah, that is on the list. Well, it's like it's
It's-
adjacent on the
yeah,
list.
yeah,
Yeah.
Adjacent to the agenda.
Yeah, but anyway, I haven't watched the trailer, so it's hard for me to speak specifics. But I'm really happy that they've decided to make Ghost of Yotei be set like I think it's 300 years after
300
the
years,
original
yeah.
game, which I think is an excellent choice. I was really interested to see if they could continue Jin's story. Jin Sakai obviously being the samurai, the titular samurai of the first game. But I'm very happy that they're not doing that.
I feel like I keep seeing people online be like, "Oh, I'm so upset that Jin's not back as main character." And the way they're talking, they're acting like there's some sort of precedent, but Ghost of Tsushima was the first game in the franchise, yeah?
I mean, it was a standalone, yeah.
So I don't know why they just were like, "Oh, he must have to come back for the second game." I've played many game series where it's different protagonists.
I mean,
all the way
Assassin's
through.
Creed, which we mentioned, is like one of the most prolific examples of swapping between.
Well,
Even
And people
in-
like Ezio more than they liked Altair.
I think if they continue Jin's story, it'd be very hard for them to continue it in and not maybe a correct way, but a good way.
like an organic way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like his story did come full circle. I feel like
He was the ghost. Yeah.
they did all they really could with his story, and I'm not left wondering, hey, what's gonna happen with his story. I just felt like it was very organic, and I'm glad with them going a different way. Again, as mentioned before, if you look at games like Assassin's Creed, they do obviously give the picture that you can do this. And matter of fact, I have the trailer pulled up right now, so we can just have Will live react, and same with Caden Brady.
I mean, I'm happy to watch it later if we want to. I'm fine with that.
No, we'll get a live reaction.
Okay. I will say that I also think it's a little bit silly, and again, Assassin's Creed's a good reference for this if we want to use that. It's a little bit silly to say that just because this game is not about Jin means we will never hear from him again.
No, you can totally have like references and stuff.
Yeah, like I just don't think that logic makes much sense.
I was feeling like they were gonna have like a thing. You know how in games where NPCs talk and like you can overhear cool things? I feel like they would talk about
Jin.
Jin, like as like a legend, because this is 300 years later.
They definitely will. I will be shocked if they don't do that.
I'm sure there will be at least one callback.
Definitely, I would expect more than one. I feel like, and this is just my speculation, that the main character, whose name I don't know, unfortunately, but that the main character will have heard of the story of Jin, and will like be trying to emulate it. That's my guess.
Hopefully. Okay. I'll start the trailer, and then you just let me know when you want to stop and talk over something.
So,
Okay.
do you want to pause it for a sec?
Yeah.
So I think it's notable. I don't want us to just be listening to this
Yeah.
for 3 whole minutes. I think it's notable and something I wanted to mention. The game is set in mainland Japan,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yep.
And I think that means we'll probably get a bigger map, like a bigger world, bigger sense of things to do in the world, which I think is really cool, very exciting. And I also, Noah might actually know more than me, but I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a lot of political strife, specifically in the early 1600s in Japan.
Was between the shogun and the emperor.
Right. So maybe the Mongols. Well, not maybe. I would be surprised if the Mongols have any part to play in this story.
Yeah, hopefully they don't bring them back because it would actually make like zero sense, and even less sense than the first game. Because even in the first game, they like. I like that they're the bad guys, but historically speaking, in the first game, they shouldn't have even been there, because of there's
typhoon, right?
Typhoon that wiped them out, and they did have 2 attempts at this, and both times a typhoon wiped their whole army out. So,
which isn't that where the one term that I can't think of right now comes from? The divine wind, kamikaze. The divine wind.
Yeah, divine wind. So basically, so hopefully they don't go that route. Just my personal opinion. I think it makes more sense to have more of a shogun.
I don't think the Mongol Empire is around in this. I'm speculating because I don't remember, but I don't think the Mongol Empire is at large in the 1600s anyway.
No.
So, and I think it's interesting. Right before we continued on as well, the character pointed to a poster, which we can assume has the main character on it, saying that they're like wanted. And so I'm very curious to see the standing of our character, because obviously Jin follows an arc of going from a highly respected samurai to the ghost. So we might have a little bit more of an unorthodox progression, especially if there's more weapon variety. I'm wondering if this is someone who isn't of the higher echelon, who's kind of working their way up, if that makes sense.
Well, we also saw that she was dual wielding, so
was
very happy about that. Yeah, and
I didn't even.
Well, we
Does the
assume is the
pod
main
know
character.
about how much you love dual wielding?
Matthew does in fact love dual wielding. He's
obsessed with it.
It's his favorite thing ever.
All right, play the clip.
I just wanted to talk about one more thing. At the start, it was a black and white video, which would suggest that they're all going to do the same thing they did in the first game with the cool art style.
Oh my god, why can I not? Called. Kurosawa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be shocking if they didn't use the Kurosawa, because that was a very big thing that people
really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll hit resume.
If you can't clean your blade in this one, I'm sending it back.
I think she cleaned it. Sorry, I just want to ask where my I want to make sure I get the right name here. Dark Souls remake is.
Why do you want a Dark Souls? Do you mean Bloodborne?
Yeah, where's my Bloodborne remake? Sucker Punch.
Is Sucker Punch in charge of that?
No, that's the whole joke.
Was that Naughty Dog? Was this the Naughty Dog joke?
Yeah.
People mad at Naughty Dog for remastering stuff. Why aren't you remastering Bloodborne?
Exactly.
Yeah, because Naughty Dog has any control of that. Sucker Punch, I will say, while we're paused, did make the Sly Cooper games, which are fire, and nobody has heard of these days.
Such a disgrace.
Such a disgrace.
PlayStation neglects all of its IPs.
That's true. That is true. Actually, that is PlayStation's fault.
Yeah.
PlayStation, if you're listening, please. I just want to play Sly Cooper. Please give me away. That's not PS Now.
Well, like Bloodborne, for example, they haven't remade that game for PS5.
Didn't they close Japan Studios or whatever that made Bloodborne?
I don't know, but
wasn't Bloodborne made by From Software?
Yeah, but it was through a specific. There was a thing.
That's why there's no PC version.
Sony loves to close stuff, but
so true.
Yeah,
okay,
Bloodborne.
We'll get back to the trailer.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, well, that's a very nice. So that's like an old loot or of some sort, I think.
So I think this. I don't know if this is going to be in the final version of the game, but I have a suspicion that you're going to be able to befriend wolves. You know what I mean?
Isn't there a pet dog that shows up in just a sec here?
I don't know. Maybe it does, but
I've heard something about having a dog.
Another thing I want to say is, and this is a massive nitpick here, but it's historically inaccurate to have 2 of the same sized blades when you dual wield.
Well, she's holding a Tonto in her other hand. I was about to comment on that.
Well, no, because if you look at the, let me look at the guards real quick. You look at her things; they're the same size. That's what I don't know. From what I can see,
to me, that looks like a Tonto.
I don't know.
If you look at her sheaths, she has her Tonto sheath and her normal sheath, and they're both empty.
Yeah, but they look like they're the same size sheath.
But perspective?
I'm not sure. I think the thing hanging off her back looks more like the end of her lute, lyre, guitar thing. or possibly even like maybe that is. I'm not sure.
Okay, we can get back to this at a later date when the game comes out.
Yeah, just
Actually,
play
you
it
know
from
what?
here. Oh.
They do appear to be different sized. Maybe
Yeah.
that's
That does not. I mean, unless it's
perspective.
perspective, I don't know. I mean, we were talking about how we don't care about historical accuracy anyway. So
I know.
Yeah.
It's just as a dual wielding
Yes.
aficionado.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
oh no, maybe that was a gun because she just was that a gun we just saw?
Yeah, it
That
was a
was, in fact,
musket,
a
and
gun.
so, more so like the historical part of that is, they were getting guns around this time
Yeah.
Right.
because of the Western trade, obviously.
Right. I thought the Western trade was possibly later because that was originally what I was going to say with the 1600s thing, but I didn't want to be just wrong. But I guess that is.
I
No,
think
the
the start of
Portuguese
it was
traded.
about this time.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it boomed. I want to say like 1800s.
That's what I was thinking, like 18, like I don't know, 30s maybe.
I don't know
That's a
because
guesstimate on the decade.
because,
Yeah, I'm just guessing
Yeah.
from other media that I've seen.
from what I've seen is, like when you look at Ran, like that was a movie made by Kurosawa in like the late to mid 1900s. A lot of his movies that are set around this area or era have a lot of guns in them, and like I forget what the samurai are called that wield these guns. They have like a special name, and basically they got these guns through trade with the Portuguese, but really the Portuguese only traded guns with them because that's all they wanted.
Yeah.
And then later on when other nations get involved, and they come out of, or they come out of this more isolation period, they really develop way bigger trade. But
Yeah. Well, overall, that trailer is very cool. Honestly, it didn't reveal as much as I was expecting.
I mean, this is pretty much, it's just an announcement trailer.
no,
right?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I from what I'd heard, I thought it showed a little bit more, but I'm happy with it still. It's very exciting.
I mean, it looks like you in this last little montage that they did. It looked like it was showing off some different weapon
Like different
styles.
weapons, yeah, different play styles. Like that looks
So
like they're
here we
lighting
have
up
Yeah.
flame,
big
yeah,
sword.
blade.
Big sword. Yep. Good
I
job.
forget what it's
Sword.
called. It actually has a name. Like it's like a
It's like the larger katana, yeah.
variant of the katana, the one
Yeah.
that you're supposed to two hand.
Yeah.
And then
And there's the shinobi
Oh.
weapon. Yeah.
sorry,
And then there was dual wielding.
Get a quick little look at Matthew's YouTube feed.
I can't ever fucking
It's
pause
fine.
it
We
correctly.
saw it. It's
It's
fine.
okay.
It's fine.
It's
It's a
okay. We
podcast.
understand.
I mean,
Which that would lead more towards like the ghost idea because like ninja weapons weren't.
what I'm
Frowned
guessing based off of that, and this might echo Assassin's Creed a little bit, whether intentionally, most likely unintentionally. I'm curious if like certain weapons are more suited to like a more stealthy playstyle, kind of like what you were just alluding to. Like if you're a big like combat first, maybe you bring the giant katana, and if you're maybe like, oh, I'm a stealthy girl.
That would be sick.
I'm a stealthy girl.
Well, and it also reminds me of like Jedi Survivor. In Jedi Fallen Order, the first game, you only had 3 lightsaber. Well, really, it was 2. You could either dual blade or double blade, and then you had like special attacks that were like split blades. And then in the second game, they added dual wielding. They added the larger saber. They added a blaster. I think that's all the ones they added. And so I'm wondering if it will look like that, where you kind of choose which ones you're using, or if it'll be very fluid.
I feel like what I do want them to keep and what I do want them to add to these weapons, maybe this is asking too much, but it's the styles. Like to have each one have different styles and ways you can use it. Like for example, in the first
Like
game,
the
you
stone
had
and the
4
wind.
different,
Yeah.
4 different stances that you could use,
Oh, okay,
and they were
got
all
it.
purposeful. Now to have that with each weapon is going to be a little harder because you
I mean,
have
that
different
is-
weapons to fulfill those roles. But I think it would still be cool to have that in mind, that you can use different weapons to different things. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
wondering if maybe instead of having one katana, which has 4 stances for each enemy type, maybe you can wield, say, 2 weapons at a time. Like, you can like switch between them, and maybe
Black Ops
like,
Call
say
of Duty style.
not quite. Maybe like
Overkill.
you can use the normal katana, and that's still good against like swordsmen, and then you can also have like the bigger katana, and maybe that's better against like shields or something. Like, maybe instead of having one weapon that changes stances, you have different weapons that are suited to different stances.
I can
Yeah,
see that.
And like the musket, I wonder if you're going to be able to choose between different long range weapons. Like I'm wondering if they're still
I
going to
would
have
guess
the bow and
so,
arrow.
yeah.
Maybe. Do you think they're going to have a crossbow? I don't know if did Japan ever use a crossbow?
Probably at some point.
I know that the samurai generally preferred bows because they're more reliable.
Well, also
and,
because
like,
they saw it as an art form.
Well, yeah. So you can like train to like learn the way of the bow, and then it's just a better weapon than a crossbow.
Yeah, they probably didn't have crossbows because if y'all don't know, crossbows aren't as good as longbows.
Yeah,
If you have a trained longbows, so there's really no point. And
I read
especially
Ranger's Apprentice. I
with
know
like the
this stuff.
cultural
Love that series.
perspective
10.
they would have on the crossbow, they probably wouldn't want it because they would see
But
it as
don't take
dishonorable.
it from us. None of
Yeah.
us are
I
history
mean, yeah,
majors.
we don't. Well, it's funny because
Except
I am
for
taking
William
a class in Japanese history right now, but I just started it because of the quarter system. So
God.
I'm not very deep in.
Will in his first week of school while we're on.
Yeah,
we're
literally.
We're going on
literally.
week 6, Matthew.
Here, yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been here as long as you guys have because of marching band.
Yeah, doing your band camp.
Yeah. Which, like, if we want to segue away from the topic, this is a good segue. Unless Matthew wants to keep talking about Ghost of Yotei. I mean,
no, we can continue to the next topic, which is
the next topic. Let me pull that up actually, because I'll introduce it. I got this.
Okay.
So don't worry about this. I was thinking it'd be good to have some sort of like, some sort of update on like what we've been up to, college life sort of style. Like whether that be like schoolwork wise, if it's too much, if it's fine to handle. Just talking about what our lives have been like now that we are in college.
I think, as a chemical engineering major, I think the workload is definitely there. I think it exists. And by I think, I know it exists.
Yeah,
but it's not like I have no life, right? Like I like playing sports still, and I still play a lot of golf. I'm actually going to try and go pro in golf. But that's besides the point. The workload's not that, much, and I can still hang out with friends, and so I guess that's what I like. I just like playing golf, so that's usually what I do.
There you go. I'd say for me, like schoolwork wise, hasn't been too difficult. Obviously, we're now like in the point where it's like there's always tests going on for something, right?
I haven't had a test yet.
God damn you! I have had so many tests.
I have not had a test either.
Oh my god!
I've had quizzes. I've had
quizzes and tests, like multiple, many. But like homework wise, other than this paper that I should probably be working on because I think it's due either Monday or Wednesday next week.
Oh shoot!
You gotta get on that.
My paper. I don't know
started
if my
researching
paper.
it.
That's.
I think I have a paper due too. And I don't even know when it's due.
I don't even know my prompt as of this moment. I forgot it. It's not anywhere online. So I'll talk to someone. There's people on my floor who are in my class. So I'll talk to them and figure that out.
That's crazy. That's wild.
But other than that, I mean, I've been keeping up a great social life. Super busy, just hanging out with people, going to the beach, going to football games.
I never knew my little child could ever make it in life without me. He can.
Once again, older than you, Matthew.
He is our little kid. He's our little Irish baby. He does a little Irish jig, and he goes to school. Thank you,
Patrick. Whatever. am not getting a ton of sleep due to my new thriving social life.
Bro, the sun wakes me up every morning at 7 o'clock. I'm dialing
Oh
from
my
7 o'clock
God.
to when I go to bed.
Oh,
I am
that's
on average getting like 5 to 6 hours of sleep for like school nights, and then on like weekends, 4 or none.
well, that really correlates. One of the pieces of advice I was given recently was there's three main attributes of college, right? There's your classes and your academics and being caught up. There's your
Yep.
social scene, having friends, or going to parties or whatever it is you do, and then sleep. And I was told that you can only get two of the three, so you have to
getting two
choose
right
which
now.
one to sacrifice.
Sleep is gone.
We
I
sacrifice
literally
the school grades. No, I'm just
last night I was staying up and I was with friends. We were all doing homework out on the lanai, and I had finished my homework and I was like, tonight's the night. I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm getting 8 hours of sleep tonight. I managed to stay up till nearly 1 in the morning, just out there. I finally get back to my room to go lay down, and as soon as I close my eyes, someone pulled the fire alarm and we have to evacuate the building.
Nice.
And I was so pissed because I had just gotten a text from someone saying one of the other towers was going off.
Yeah, that's
And I
a
just-
problem I've heard from like a lot of people who live in dorms that also have a dining hall. Like it's
Yeah,
like a double-edged
yeah.
sword. Like you
That's what
like
I've
that your
heard.
dorm has a dining hall, but you're gonna have more firearms.
Actually-
It's just people being dumb and deciding, oh, I'm gonna pull this for fun.
Yeah, within the first hour of me living in my temp housing, which I'll get to in a minute, actually, it was within the first 10 minutes, fire alarm went off.
Nice.
Well, actually, from what I've heard, is a lot of the ones on our campus have been because of drills, not because
We
of
have not
just
had a
some-
single drill yet.
There's a bunch of drills supposed to be going on soon.
We have
Hopefully
had
not too
four.
soon.
I want to say 4 fire alarms pulled in the tower in the past month. No drills yet.
I should
Well,
check.
I'm surprised your campus hasn't freaking installed cameras on where the fire alarms are.
Do you
because
think my school can afford technology?
okay, first
crazy.
of all,
That's crazy.
every time they call out the fire department to go look at it, they have to pay them.
Yeah.
So they would probably make more money in the long run just installing one camera and
Oh.
looking at it than having to call out the
Apparently,
fire department.
One
every
camera.
time.
You got to put a camera on each floor, multiple spots for 4 towers for 12 floors, 13 floors.
damn,
Yeah,
that's
they're
a
a
huge
college.
building. That's crazy.
They're funded by the state and the
But
kids
not.
who go there.
Whoa! Hold on. We do not have just a big budget for that sort of stuff. My professors have probably 30-year-old mics that sometimes work.
Yeah, maybe you should have gone
Nice.
to the school of UH, Manoa.
Yeah.
I
That's-
love it here though.
Well, I guess, are you kind of wrapped up there, Caden?
I think so. I think that's pretty much it. I love
For
beach
me,
time.
yeah, for me, it's very strange. So as I just addressed, I lived in temporary housing because here's the thing: I decided that I was going to do something different in college and do marching band. Have never done marching band before, dear listener. So the cool thing is about marching band is that it goes on during the football season. Now, here's something that might have just occurred to you. If that goes on during the football season, which started a month ago, but classes started this week, how could the pep band how could the marching band work if I showed up at the normal time? Well, it doesn't. So I came to Northwestern a month ago when everyone else went to college, and I've been doing band camp for the last month, which is literally 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. of band rehearsals and learning how to march and learning songs and learning the pregame.
Yeah, if anyone has seen American Pie 2, it's just like that.
It's not like that at all.
It's just like that.
It's not like that at all. Not even slightly. So this week has been a very strange transitionary period for me. I lived at a different hall before, and I moved from that hall to this hall about 17 days ago, actually, because I moved on the 10th. I'm not going to say the names of either halls because I'm not doxing myself like that. But so I've lived in this hall for a while, but this week has been a very strange transition where I've been here. I've been on campus. I'm comfortable on campus, but now I'm actually using it for school as intended and not just as a place that I do my band camp at. And it's very strange, like not a bad strange, but it's just like going to classes, like getting back into the flow of things, and like, you know, learning how to, like, a college lecture is obviously very different than a high school lecture. And so like I'm still trying to figure out, you know, like my ways of doing things and stuff like that. So I've had a very dramatic week. And my 9 a.m. class Monday, Wednesday, Friday is intense. Because I don't like mornings.
Yeah,
So
you know what's been weird, really weird to me is I used to wake up way earlier than I do in college, like at like 6:30.
Yeah,
and
same.
Now it feels like if I wake up at 6:30, I just got like
shot. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like, why can't I do this anymore? And the other thing I wanted to talk about was college lectures are so much more interesting than high school lectures.
It's so much more. It's crazy.
I'd say that for most of mine.
I'd rather like, bro. This is wild to say. I know nobody's gonna, you know, disagree with me on this, but college lectures are genuinely like I want to be there. Some high school lectures I did not want to be there. Okay.
No, my astronomy class. Shout out, my astronomy class.
Astronomy is great.
He's the professor is like so funny, and he's such a good speaker, and I just like being there. I'm learning about like space and the stars and the earth, and it's just so fun. I just
they seem like they genuinely want to be there.
I swear my astronomy professor is Harrison Ford. I swear to God,
Harrison Ford in hiding.
But he's so like I can't see very well. I never wear my glasses to lectures. But
well, that's a stupid.
It's because I pull up the slides on my computer, so I can just see them there. So I can't see his face, but he just feels like Harrison Ford.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's fair.
Shout out to that professor. He feels your face is Harrison Ford.
And I have a TA that I swear to God, he looks just like Grant Gustin, who played the Flash on the CW.
Maybe just like everyone at your school is actually famous.
It's actually them.
It's just like their hiding spot. Like they don't know what else to do, so they just teach at this public university.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely been dramatic for me. And like now that other freshmen are here, because they got here last week, we had like an introduction, the Wildcat welcome, if you will, which was last week.
Oh my God, we had the same exact thing.
Yo, Wildcats, rise up. Go Cats.
Go Cats, indeed.
Yeah, go Rainbow Warriors.
No, shut up. You shut up. But I've been trying to like.
I just want to get something out of my. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just need to announce this real quick. If you go to a university and you're on campus and you're wearing a different shirt from a different university, we are enemies.
A lot of people do that here. Like a lot of people.
That is really weird.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I think a lot of them, like I see a lot of people wearing Stanford stuff, and I think a lot of them are graduate students, so they probably went to Stanford and are doing graduate school here.
I can't believe there's people here, like, I mean, they're wearing Hawaii merch, but they're wearing like sweatshirts during the day, and I cannot do that. Oh my God.
I mean, it's like 100 degrees, and I see some kids in jeans, and I'm like, bro, what are we doing here?
It's finally getting cool here, so I can finally like wear pants again.
Oh, you lucky bastard!
Nice. It's so nice. Humidity's crazy though. Nobody prepared me for humidity.
Humidity, I love humidity. First of all,
I hate it. I do not like it.
It makes me feel like I'm at home. It's like a warm blanket.
It makes me feel like I'm constantly in a swamp, and I'm not a fan.
What is the humidity right now? 72%, so not horribly high. But
my point, the point I was making before Matthew interrupted me. What?
That was a joke, folks. I don't do anything.
It's just weird, like trying to make friends, you know. And I don't mean that in like a oh my God, I have no friends, but it's just weird. Like I you know, throughout high school, like these two are examples. I had friends all the time, and like I was like, okay, I'm gonna hang out with this person. Like it was set.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, like who do I hang out with? Like I don't.
Will, here's my advice. This is how it worked for me. Accidentally lock yourself out of your room, and then people approach you when you're sitting out in the common area. And they're like,
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But I do often. My roommate loves pool, so we often just go down to the lounge and just play pool. And I've met a lot of people that way.
Shout out to that guy, by the way. I love pool as well.
Shout out to the guy you definitely didn't name drop earlier this episode.
Yeah, shout out to that guy.
Shout out to him. Oh. But yeah, college life is good, actually.
It is good.
I was worried. I was worried for like the first few like weeks when I didn't really have anyone, any particular group that I was like hanging out with. I didn't have much of a social life, and it felt like I was like going to classes, coming back to my room, and just watching like shows.
I'm still there. Yeah, I'm still in.
And
that.
I'm really happy that I finally am at the point where I constantly have things to do, and it feels like I'm living. Like at this point, my classes feel like they are the shortest part of my day.
I don't have that yet because I'm only really like friends with like a couple people, and like for example, if y'all know this meme, it's been going around, the Instagram reels lately, but it's basically like the video of Tom Cruise running away from like a dust storm or something.
Yeah,
and it's like me when I leave my lectures and wonder why I have no friends, and it's like this guy
just zoom out of there.
Exactly, it's because like, I don't know, I'm like a guy who likes getting his work done first, so I just can relax the rest of the day. But the problem is
no one else is doing that. Yeah,
exactly.
My problem, honestly, it's a strange problem to have. I'm trying to not only hang out with the other band people I know, because the great thing about band is that I already had other freshman friends and friends in all of the grades, and I already have like a support system. And it's very nice. But it's also like a double-edged sword where I don't want to be just friends with other marching band people.
That's fair.
So like,
shout out to those guys.
Shout out to the marching band's really cool. Shout out Northwestern University marching band, NUM. Shout out. I'm trying to think of something I can say to signify. Go Cats, go Cats. And it's weird. I never thought that I would be going to all the football games in college, but I literally I'm learning how football works. I voluntarily went to a watch party and was invested when we lost. And for anyone who knew me in high school, I hate.
You did not care.
Well, first of all,
never cared.
Our football team sucked.
Well, my football team is still. Go Cats! Go, I love my team. I love my team.
Hey, we don't have that problem with the Cats down here.
Go Cats! Go Cats! Love my team. We love our team. We love our team. We love our team.
Okay.
We love our team.
Calm down.
We love our team. We love our team. Go Cats!
You good? Yep. Okay. We mainly go because my friend group. We have a friend who is in the color guard, so she does performance at
shout out color guard.
Color guard is cool. We did not have that back in
yeah, the amount of learning
in Tuscaloosa. Yeah.
Dude, the amount of
we
learning.
Went to high school. It's canon, folks.
Yeah, Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa.
True,
that's where we all went. Definitely.
True. Put that in the lore. But I didn't know what a drum major was before I got here, which you guys still might not know.
By the way, Tuscaloosa is in Alabama. I didn't know.
I did not know that.
Dude, fucking Alabama.
I mean, of course we knew because we went there.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
high school.
That's where we're from.
Yep.
No, wait, but they would have a good marching band if they're from Alabama.
Shoot.
How do we know that though?
Because whatever.
Yeah, we're cooking right now.
But yeah, I didn't know what a drum major was. I didn't know any of the lingo. It was a very strange transition where people, and it still happens sometimes, where people are talking about marching band things, and I'm part of the conversation, but I have literally no idea what they're talking about. The first time people started bringing up DCI, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I've since discovered that it's a very famous drum corps, or it's a drum corps competition. I think it's a drum corps though.
He still doesn't know, folks.
I still am
that's all right.
Sure. I think it's a drum corps. I'm pretty sure.
It's Jover for him.
It's Jover.
Yeah, but I play cymbals, which is a good time. It's a very silly instrument. I just feel silly sometimes. But it gives you a good arm workout. I'll say that.
I imagine.
My arms and chest is definitely stronger than before I left.
My legs from just walking so much. Oh my god.
Honestly, my calves are kind of degrading a little bit because I'm not getting to set drumming.
So defined.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's yeah. Well, and dining hall food has not been agreeing with me lately. I'm fighting a battle with the dining hall food. It's not even that it tastes bad. It's just my stomach hates it. But the gluten-free shout out gluten-free waffle station. Whoever decided that there should always be waffles that you could just make yourself that are gluten-free, shout out that person.
God, our waffles here suck. Our
waffles here are so good.
They're almost, they're so hard. They're like a wafer.
Wafer, not a good time.
It is not good. It is not good. And yeah, no, that's why I rarely get breakfast because I'm like most of the time it's waffles. Sometimes they've got like one morning they had spam and I was so hyped. It was so good. Um, but they never have spam and it makes me sad. But Thursday nights at one of the cafes here is quesadilla night, and I am there for quesadilla night. Oh my God.
That's so real.
I had 5 quesadillas last night, and I keep trying their guacamole, but their guacamole is really bad. It's so bland and awful. But I keep thinking to myself, maybe this time it'll be better.
I'm sorry, I made the mistake.
I understand what you were doing there. Don't worry. The next topic we're gonna talk about. The next topic we're gonna talk about is Ubisoft.
Oh, yes, this is my time. Wait. I
Okay.
get to introduce my.
Sorry.
Everyone introduces their own, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of referenced it a lot already this episode, but I was thinking about like, what can I talk about? What's an interesting topic to bring up? And if anybody had a similar experience growing up as me, I really loved Ubisoft games when I was younger. Like I loved Assassin's Creed games. Watch Dogs was like one of the games of my childhood. Probably shouldn't have been. Definitely not a child-friendly game, but like I loved it as a kid. And so it's very interesting. The past few months, maybe year even, maybe even few years, depending on how far you really want to put this back, to see Ubisoft just absolutely crumbling.
Oh my God, the amount of
like-
games I used to play from them, and I still play them, but I'm like, why is this game so bad
apart? Yeah, they're falling apart. Well, so Star Wars Outlaws. Oh, sorry, Caden. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I didn't play a bunch of.
I actually have some statistics for the segment. So
I liked Rayman, the Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends.
Oh,
I liked
yeah, but
those
they
games.
abandoned that like a long time ago.
Yeah, no, of course. But I remember back in like 2016, it was already a joke that like Ubisoft was super glitchy and awful.
Well, and it's such
not
a shame
entirely
because
true.
I do genuinely believe that Ubisoft has some bangers and some IPs I really like. And to me, it's a shame. I mean, they're a corporation, and corporations at the end of the day don't care about your feelings. So like, I'm not that offended. But like, it's so sad for me to see a company that I associated as a kid with cool games and good games now just completely falling apart.
Like, let me put this into perspective. So, For Honor, a game I used to love, I used to play a lot of it. All-time peak was 216,000 players.
I was probably part
2
of that
hours ago, its peak was 3,349 players.
Which, like, granted, it's an old game, but if you look at examples like Star Wars Outlaws, like that game massively underperformed, and they're now offering
Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones just came out like within the past year, had an all-time peak of 2,600 players, and there are only 200 players still playing it. Which that peak isn't
insane.
that big anyway, but
no, but that's terrible numbers. And Assassin's Creed Shadows has had all of its controversy around Yasuke, the main character.
So
one of the two.
I don't think true. True. I don't know. Do we want to break that down? I
do have a problem with the main character, or half of the main character. I don't have any problem with the woman character, because there is no problem to be had there. But I just wanted to go over Rainbow Six Siege here for a second.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
because
go for it.
That was one of the a game that defined my childhood, along with Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
I have like over 1,000 hours.
200,000 players was its all-time peak, and playing 2 hours ago. So this is actually probably one of their most healthy games right now. Is 53,000 players. So that's not bad.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's pretty good.
That's actually probably pretty good with how long it's been around. But its peak was in 2020 during COVID, which makes sense.
Gaming just kind of peaked in 2020. Like online gaming, everyone was doing it.
Not for certain games, but yeah, I agree with you.
Really?
Yeah, For Honor did not peak in then.
Oh, well.
Well, For Honor is pretty old comparatively. Yeah. But it's interesting to see, like, you look at all the recent Ubisoft games. So like the new Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, that did not do very well. Star Wars Outlaw did not do very well. I believe Assassin's Creed Mirage did not do very well. That one I'm not as certain on. And we could keep going down the line, and like people have been associating, like a lot of online discourse, especially on places like Twitter, is already cancerous enough.
Yeah, oh my
and
god.
Like you shouldn't consider it as like an active resource. But the public perception around series such as Assassin's Creed has been pretty low for the last years, and another one is Watch Dogs Legion, which I didn't think was that bad. Did not do very well. So they keep putting out these major titles. Oh, how am I forgetting the best example? Rainbow Six Quarantine, or whatever that game was called.
Oh, dude, massive dump all over that game. Like I believe that game went on sale after the first 2 weeks because nobody bought it.
Nobody bought it. I don't know do you know what the player peak was? I could look it up.
No, I do not.
Oh, it's Extraction. Now I forgot. Let's look at the peak. That's so sad.
What is it?
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extractions all-time peak was 2,338.
Yeah.
The 24-hour peak as of this recording was 59, and the current players is 23.
Oh,
that game is dead, and it was never surviving in the first place. For an Ubisoft game with the title of Rainbow Six Siege in the name, for to have an all-time player peak of 2,000 is insane.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the lowest peak within the last few days. Oh, wow. On September 22nd, there were 7 people playing it.
So the moral of the story is that Ubisoft should go back to be making Rayman Origins many more times.
Well, honestly, I don't know what they can do to fix it at this point. Maybe make games that are more
good,
concentric with what people want is what I was going to say.
To put this in perspective is that the new hit game of the year, Space Marine 2. By the way, I'm a massive Warhammer fan. I have said this in the past.
Yes, you have.
Its all-time player peak, which was 18 days ago, because it's like 18 days old, was 225,000 people, and its 24-hour peak was 71,000 people as of the making of this video.
Damn.
Which is insane for a game that wasn't really supposed to do that well. Like, it was supposed to do well, not that well, though.
I mean, and let's take a look at another example, Black Myth Wukong, which essentially destroyed records.
Okay, real quick, I swear that game came out of nowhere. I heard nothing about that game until it released.
It was in the workings for a long time. I heard a lot about it before it came out.
I got on a plane, and I got off the plane, and then all of a sudden, the internet blew up about this game.
Well, so this game currently has a 60% loss, which probably sounds terrible until you consider the all-time peak was 2.4 million players.
They had they had a lot of Chinese people playing it.
And they have currently, as of 30 minutes ago, 135,000 players.
Damn.
Insane, right?
For a single player
in
campaign.
The last 24 hours, the peak was 386,000.
It's crazy that many people are still playing it. For it's a single player campaign, right? And it's And how long has it been out? Over a month.
I think
it came out August 28th.
People want is just a game, and I think they're marketing those games towards those people, or not. They're marketing towards those people, but those games are getting so big and so popular just because all they're getting from it is a game, and I think that's what people want.
I feel like that's why the whole I kind of want to bring it. I was going to talk about the console war or whatever. How everyone's oh, they're all competing, but everyone's doing their own thing really. And I wanted to say Nintendo, they're just releasing games at this point, and everyone's fine with them. No one's getting upset really at the current Nintendo games, unless
you're never
Pokemon.
Getting a new console, Nintendo players. You will have to switch forever. Good luck.
Well, that's
new console comes out next year.
Yeah, that's not true. But
that's part of the joke.
But I do think. Are you still going, Caden? I don't want to.
No, I was just gonna say the new one's supposed to be the specs of a PS4 but portable.
Damn, that's crazy actually. But when you look at the games that are being successful, so let's think about it. Baldur's Gate. Helldivers before all the stuff went down.
before it died,
unfortunately.
I loved it, and then they nerfed everything and made everything unfun because Sony got their hands on it. Go
Yeah,
fuck yourselves.
So Baldur's Gate, Helldivers, Space Marine, Black Myth. What else? I mean, what else are the big games that have done well recently? And even like Chained Together, say, for example.
Oh,
not
God,
not
Chained
nearly as
Together
big of an
was
example.
huge, though.
Dude,
But, like,
I
and
love that game.
But what do all of those have in common?
They're smaller
are-
developers?
Well, that too. I wasn't going for that, but that is
Okay.
true.
Space
But they're
Marine
all-
2, right?
They're all games that have an audience in mind, and they are just a pure game experience.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the
Oh, wait,
problem,
Elden Ring DLC came out. That was
Elden Ring
massive.
Oh,
too.
that
same,
was-
that too,
that
but
was
that
the two,
too.
wasn't
You know,
it?
they're catering to their audience, and people appreciate a good game.
I agree.
And like, so when you see Ubisoft's falling off, and you look at the recent stuff they've put out, packed to the brim with microtransactions, buggy, glitchy, not completed, oftentimes meant to be for the largest possible audience. People are becoming aware of that.
And that's great, and that's a good thing. And I'm not saying it's a good thing because the games stink. I'm saying it's a good thing because it's making sure that those bigger companies out there are being held accountable because they're not just going to get everybody's money anymore, and that there is, relatively, there's more competition now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the company that made Black Myth Wukong, I believe I read this somewhat briefly, so I'm not gonna say 100% this is true, but I believe that they were a mobile game developer before they made Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, they've never made like a full-on actual game before.
Cool.
If you look at Larian, for the people behind Baldur's Gate,
Yeah.
they are not quite as underground.
Great studio.
But yeah, great studio.
But
Helldivers, they came out of nowhere. Like, all these companies
I-
are establishing that you don't have to be Ubisoft to put out successful games.
What I wanted to say was the fact that, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, I don't remember when Valheim came out, but it reminds me of, like, the support Valheim got. And
Yeah.
regardless of whether you like the game or not, because a lot of people hated that game because of how buggy it was, but, like, I loved it because it was a great experience. And, it was like $20. I could buy it. I could afford to buy it. And the studio was so small that I remember that they had to buy more servers in order to get for people to be able to play, and they had to hire more people, and then they made like a roadmap and everything, and I think they did it perfectly. And it's just what it reminds me of now.
Helldivers had a similar situation where they had to get more servers.
Yeah,
and stuff
because they never expected their game to go that big.
But it kind of reminds me, like, my problem with Helldivers was, and I loved the game for the first 2 weeks, but after the first 2 weeks, they turned it into Call of Duty. You had to get the new battle pass every time, or whatever it was called. It was like called the War Bond pass or whatever. And you had to get the War Bond pass, the new War Bond pass every time, because what they would do is they would nerf every other gun, like what was the old meta. And then, and I didn't even play the meta originally because it was just fun to play. I just liked playing the game. I was just playing the game to have fun. But later on in its life cycle, what you had was War Bond Premium Pass, like guns. You had to use those. And if you didn't pay that $10, you couldn't get a gun that was fun to use. And so I just quit the game. I was like, I'm done. And I'm
What's
probably never
interesting-
coming back.
Was interesting. I'm looking at the Steam charts for it right now, just out of curiosity. And it seems like Helldivers, I know that they recently implemented a bunch of balancing changes to encourage exactly what you were just talking about, making things more fun and like powering. Apparently they've completely balanced most of the I can't think of the name of the stratagems. Like, apparently the railgun is like broken again, like even more so than it was when it originally came out. And currently they're at their 24-hour peak of 45,000, which is still I would say a really good player count.
I'd agree with this.
Granted, right before that, before these patches came out, it was at like 11,000 and 9,000.
From a peak of 458.
Right.
So
the question is, can what they're doing right now keep the game relevant? And I'm not like a journalist, I don't know the answer to that question.
And for like until like May 24, we really saw this happen. Like until May 24, they were a very healthy game for how big they were. And then after that, it fell off. And I feel like it's because of what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of other people realized that, and they had other options to go to, and so they did. And I just want to say this right now. I think games, when you pay for a game that's like $60, $70, you shouldn't have to pay more for DLC. And I know people are going to be like, I disagree with that. And I agree with you to an extent. I agree with you, like, for example, Elden Ring. The amount of DLC you got for how much you spent, it felt like it was worth it. But I mean DLC as in, hey, this is content in the game, and it's like just like a gun or something, or a weapon. And you have to pay to unlock said weapon. You can't just play the game and unlock. You have to pay, and it's behind a paywall. And so it just seems very like greedy and misguiding. Like, for example, if Baldur's Gate, Larian Studio, what they did great was they said immediately when they came out with the game that they weren't going to make DLC for the game because, honestly, because they said, we're just going to produce the game.
It's finished.
And it's done. We're after we bug fix it completely, we're done. This is the final of the version of the game. And even till today, they still work on the game and they still produce content for the game, which is great. But they don't expect you to pay money for the work done on the game, which I think is great. But their downside to that is that there's still no crossplay, and I wish there was.
See, as a Xenoblade fan, I'm spoiled when it comes to DLC because our DLCs are whole nother games, like 20-hour, 25-hour campaigns that are extra lore, extra story. Complete new
so
game.
Like the much. Elden Ring for more generative audience, the Elden Ring DLC.
Yes, because with Elden Ring, it was a brand new map and it was everything. With Xenoblade games, it's a complete new map, complete new characters, a complete brand new story.
So basically just a whole nother game.
Whole nother game. And it's like $20-$30, I want to say.
And that's great. And I feel like more companies should do that because it feels like it just feels so much more genuine. And honestly, that's how they should be doing it. Because they shouldn't expect people to get the game, have fun, and then have to pay more money in order to keep having fun with the game they already spent $40 on. And I mean, I think we see that now that people are not playing those games. Like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, okay? Nobody's, like, that game fell off so hard for, like, the amount of hype it gets. And this is every COD rotation. The amount of hype for the game is insane. And the last COD I truly played was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And the reason why I played it and the reason why I got it, and they broke this promise and I will never buy another COD ever again, probably, is they said, hey, we're not going to make a game for another 2 years, okay? But we'll keep the content coming, and that's how it's going to be. And then they broke that promise 1 year in because they got too greedy and they wanted more money. And so I will never buy another COD ever again.
I do just think I was trying to find the Black Ops 6 Steam charts, but did they just call it Call of Duty? Is that what this is?
I think it's Call of Duty 6.
Okay,
I thought it was originally supposed to be called Black Ops Call of Duty 6.
It doesn't really matter, but I will say that it's fascinating to me that even with Helldivers, which quote unquote fell off, right? No one plays it, blah 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 blah. Still has 45,000 people playing it right now.
Yeah.
And Rainbow Six Extraction has like the number went up since I last checked. Now it's what was it? 36.
There you go.
36, which is maybe a third of one of my lecture classes.
Yeah.
Actually, that'd be if the room was full. There's not that many people in that room, but like you get my point. So, and we kind of strayed away from Ubisoft, which I don't know how much more there is really to say.
I think it's
just
fine.
That they aren't doing well. Their stock is at the lowest point it has been in years.
I did see that.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think, is kind of their last hurrah.
Is that coming out?
Like,
Is that next year?
yeah, and it was delayed, and now they just announced Ghost of Yotai, and they're supposed to come out in the same year now, which is
I don't think
obviously
anybody's gonna buy
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed when they can go get Ghost of
Yotai. Yeah, like if I can get Yotai, I'm sorry, but like I'm going to.
And you
Yeah,
know
I'm
what?
going to.
Here's the sad thing: it'll probably be cheaper.
Well, maybe
Probably,
I don't know. I mean, Sony
PlayStation's
also
probably gonna
likes
try-
money.
Yeah, Sony's probably gonna sell it for $70.
I just want to say this though, like Ubisoft's like latest games, like Skull and Bones was gonna be $89.99.
Jesus.
Wasn't that
Um,
just a particular?
I don't know.
Was it a bundle or the whole thing?
I just saw an image of it online.
Oh,
was it
let's see,
70
What's Skull and
something?
Bones at? Oh, Skull and Bones is at 286 players.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were gonna say $286.
No. The all-time peak for that was 2,500. Like, how do you get a studio as large as Ubisoft releasing games that have less than 10,000 total peaks? Like, granted, this is only Steam charts. It doesn't count consoles.
It's not
and
everything.
That is fair. It's not everything. But
So they already have the game chopped and priced down 60% from its original launch, which I guess its original launch was 60 for the standard edition.
Mm-hmm.
And like, for example, Star Wars Outlaws, the game they just came out with, is not what anybody wanted from a Star Wars open world game.
well, I personally found it very interesting. Maybe that's just me though.
Do you have Star Wars Outlaws? Did you like Star Wars Outlaws?
Well, it's not on
I
PC.
didn't even. Yeah, I
So-
didn't even know it came out.
I just looked it up. It doesn't come out on Steam for another few weeks. Maybe it's on Epic Games.
Well, then
but
wait, how
I
are
doubt
people doing reviews of it then?
I mean,
Did they get the
Consoles
game early?
exist.
They might get review copies.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe.
let's see. It might be on Epic Games. I'm checking. It is on Epic Games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Base game for $70,
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't want
and
to
the
pay
reviews it's a 4.4. Which, like, honestly, like
pay $70
I
for
might
that.
be in the minority. I think Star Wars Outlaws looks okay. And one of the games I've spent the most time on is Mafia 3, which is a game that is not super deep but has a fun world, and I enjoy the world and the characters. So I'm a sucker for games that should have better gameplay but don't.
Yeah, but
like,
look at
I
this.
can
They
admit
have
that.
first day DLC. They have a season pass that you can buy.
I think
Yeah.
they're dropping some of that stuff. I
Oh.
saw an announcement that they're making some DLC free. I don't know if that's the DLC they were offering. I don't know the further details of that. But oh wait, I realized Caden probably wants to wrap this up semi soon.
Yeah, I think it's too
Um,
far gone.
But I did realize we forgot possibly, well, Rainbow Six Extraction might be the better example still, but possibly one of the best examples of a game coming from a great studio, having so much money behind it, and then being the worst thing on the market. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's playing that game. I mean, let's
Oh,
be real
181
here.
people. 181
Yeah.
people on Steam are playing it. Which again,
And-
Steam is only so much of the market.
But still.
Steam is the biggest launcher when it comes to PC games, and I'd say there's probably 3 when it comes to PC launchers.
You
I'd
just
say
have to account for like PlayStation and Xbox. Like that is a
Yeah.
very good amount of gamers.
I'd say EA's launcher, Epic Games launcher, and Steam launcher are probably the biggest launchers on.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's a huge example of a game just going absolutely nowhere. No one's playing it. They probably shouldn't, honestly.
Yeah. But
But
that's okay.
yeah, I mean,
Okay, well, I think that was a good note to end the episode on.
Yeah. Thank you, anyone who watched all the way to the end. If you're on
support
YouTube,
small businesses.
if you're on YouTube and you wanna like and subscribe, that'd be really cool. If you're on Spotify, thanks for listening. I don't think there's anything you can do on Spotify.
They can follow the podcast.
Can't they
Just
rate the
follow
podcast?
Oh yeah. If you want to rate us, that'd
Or
be
maybe
cool.
that's like an Apple podcast thing.
I have
I
no
don't know.
clue. I don't know
Okay,
how
if you see
Spotify
us on
works.
Apple Podcast, just
Listen,
know
I-
that it's not us uploading it, and go to YouTube or Spotify.
Listen, I only listen to one podcast, and they say that you can rate things on Spotify. So
Well, then
trust.
maybe you
I
can.
trust the Casual Criminalist. Shout out, Casual Criminalist. I hope that I can get a sponsor.
Guys, guys, and remember,
is it time?
remember, junk it out.